Welcome to Great Northwest Comics. I'm Chris, and today I'm going to be showing you some great books that I picked up this week. I have my local weekly comic book pool, as well as a purchase from eBay, or two purchases from eBay that I think are going to be great additions to my collection. And one of them is kind of a follow-up to last week's video of Spawn. So stick around to the end of the video so you can see what that awesome book is. But as you can see in front of me here, I've got the first issue of Spider-Boy. It's his first title series, and Marvel knows that this is probably going to be a book that a lot of people want to grab number one of, so they've jacked up the price to like $6 for this book. It's crazy. I did order a variant cover of this, the negative space variant, and it should come in a week or two because my shop ran out of copies and I ordered too late. So hopefully I'll get that one because it's a cool book. I know my brother has been picking these up because he loves the Spider-Verse and Spider-Boy and all that stuff. So. Next up is Canary. This is a pretty cool storyline from what I read. It has something to do with like the 1800s coal mine, and so it's a Western, gunslinger probably type of book, and by Dark Horse Comics. So I thought I'd pick it up and give it a try. I like this cover, but I ended up ordering another variant cover as well that I thought was a little nicer. So try to get the glare out. I've got my lights over here. It's definitely a gray, gloomy day in Seattle, and I need all the light I can get in this room. Next up is Unnatural Order, number 1. This one's interesting. I think it might be some type of dystopian future where the world has recreated itself after a disaster. And so they're very primitive, but they will run into technology from the lost civilization. It kind of reminds me of the Thundar cartoon, where the world is destroyed by a comet that comes too close to the Earth, and science and sorcery come back in its place and all that good stuff. So I was kind of thinking of this when I bought it. So and if you haven't seen that cartoon, try to check it out. It's great entertainment from like the 70s or 80s. Anyways, I'm not sure if I showed this one off last week. This is Edenwood by Tony Daniel. I really like his artwork, and I finally got a chance to read this, and I'm definitely intrigued by the story. I picked it up not because it's the number 1, but just because I wanted to see if I would like the series. I wanted to read it first before I made a commitment to adding it to my pull list, but I think I do like it, and I will add it to my pull list. Next up is this week's King Spawn. Was this 27? Yeah, 27. Kind of a creepy cover. This one is the Virgin variant of Almost Dead. The cover art is Tyler Kirkham. I actually thought this was written by Tyler Kirkham because I saw his name on the comic book hub that I order my books from, but it's written by somebody else. So this is the standard cover, and this one's written by Galaxy, I think. It's just a single name like Madonna, and then Ryan Benjamin, I think, does the interior artwork on there. So looking forward to reading a zombie series. Next up is Vampirella Dead Flowers. Number 2? Yeah, number 2. Sorry. My screen, every time, I've said this before, but when I look at my screen, everything's backwards, so it looks like 02. All right. Next up, this is actually an eBay purchase. Vengeance of Vampirella number 1 by Mike Mayhew. He had this out a number of years ago, and I saw it and almost bought it. I think it was like $40 for the set. You can get the trade dress and the Virgin. And then not that long ago, when I was pulling my Vengeance of Vampirella collection together, I saw these on eBay. I guess he has a store on eBay. And I almost bought them at the time, but I just didn't want to spend the $40. And I got the set on an auction for $5. So I'm very happy to pick this awesome cover up. And kind of kicking myself, though, because I think he had the Virgin variant as well on auction for $5. So I'll go back and see if this seller has any more in the Virgin so I can get the set. Next up, this is Soul Saga. So the reason why this older book is up here is that I recently sent off another submission to CGC that features a couple of the Spawn books that I've been dying to get encapsulated. So I was thinking about my next grouping that I was going to send, and I believe I wanted to go ahead and have this pressed and submitted directly to CGC. Very cool cover. It's Michael Turner, Joe Weems, and I can't read the other name on there, but very cool cover. I did read this. I've never read the full series. I'll try to see if I can pick it up digitally to get the whole storyline there. And the shop I got that from, they graded that as a 9.8 potential candidate. So we'll see what happens when I get it back. Next up is Spawn number 1. Kind of like I said in my last video, that this really needs to be a 9.8 to be able to submit. So when I go to the comic book convention this next weekend, I'm going to look for another number 1 and try to see if I can find one in even better shape. This is like on the borderline of 9.6, 9.8 after our pressing, so I'm not sure, because I do not want to make the mistake of sending this in and getting a 9.6 when 9.6 is just doesn't hold their value for this specific book, because there's so many of them and so many of them graded at 9.8. So I'd rather have a 9.8 than a 9.6. And of course, I'm going to be sending in Gunslinger first appearance 174, and I'm hoping to pick up 175 at the convention as well, so I can send them in as the pair. And then I think I mentioned this one on the last one. This is 270, the first appearance of Soul Crusher. So this one's going to be going. Definitely needs the pressing. And this issue of third printing of Spawn 300. And so finally, if you've stuck around to the end of the video, this is the cool Spawn book. That's kind of like a follow-up to my last video that I just picked up. There we go. Spawn 119, the first cameo appearance of the Gunslinger. He's featured on the last page with the Hellspawn Army, and I'm very happy to add this to my collection. This was on eBay for I think 220 Canadian dollars, and I put in a best offer that was roughly, I think, 160 or so, and he countered with 170 to 180, something like that. And so I accepted, and when it was all said and done, I basically paid about $200, which you may think, oh, that sounds a little high. Maybe you could get a little, better price doing a raw book and sending it in yourself. The local comic book stores didn't have any copies that were high grade for me to purchase, and then when I went to eBay, they wanted like over $100 for like a 9.0, 9.2 type of grading, and then if it was a 9.6, 9.8 candidate, they wanted like $170 to $200 for the raw. It didn't make any sense, because then you might as well just buy 9.8. But I didn't want to spend that much money, so this one being a 9.6, I think is going to be matchy with the 174 and then the 175, and I'll be very happy to have the trio of books in a 9.6. I'm very happy to add this to my collection. I think I got a great deal on this. I will say, though, that maybe at this time of the year, prices are starting to drop a little bit, and sellers might be getting a little desperate to start moving their inventory, because it's their last chance before the Thanksgiving and Christmas holidays are coming up, and people were thinking more along the lines of buying presents for others than for themselves. And I actually did see this posted on eBay from another seller. He had 2 copies of this in a 9.6, and they were $165 each. So that was a slightly better deal than what I picked up from the other seller. So luckily it's only within, $15, $20 difference, but still it might be a signal that the market is coming down a little bit and making some key books more affordable for everybody. So hope you enjoyed this video. I enjoyed making it. I'm hoping that the weather turns around here and we get a little sun and less thunder, more sun. So have a great weekend.